scrapes leads off of any directory, website, and notoriously hard to scrape websites that I'll show you in this video. And the best part is this is completely free to run, and it's built on top of an existing skill that most marketers and business owners have no idea exist. Because the truth is, I've been on calls with hundreds of business owners, maybe even 1,000 plus at this point, and I've never heard anyone complain about having more leads. Everyone wants more leads, and this Claude skill makes it easy to accomplish just that. And this could be a great alternative instead of buying expensive leads, hiring an expensive agency, or God forbid, doing this manually with Google Sheets and virtual assistants. Actions speak louder than words. Now, I am going to show, not tell, so let's hop into my computer and show you exactly how this scraping skill works, and then work backwards to show you where you could find a free version of it and then build it for yourself in the next 30 minutes to an hour. Let's get into it. All right, so let's go ahead now and run this skill. So it's very, very simple. I'm going to go to my Claude, so make sure you open up Claude. Specifically, we are going to be working in Claude Code. So go ahead and start a new Claude Code session, just like this. Make sure you're in the right folder, and that is pretty much all you need. Now I'm gonna run /scrape -leads. There we go. Scrape leads. And now I'm going to put in the URL of the place I want to scrape from. It's going to fetch the page and then extract the real leads. Now let's go to a website like Y Combinator. Obviously in Google Maps and regular directories, it's going to be easier. Y Combinator is a website that probably they don't want to be scraped. So there's probably some security measures, some things in place that is going to stop us from scraping this normally. This is how this skill actually navigates this. And it did take a long time for me to get this skill to this point. By the way, the skill will be for free down below if you want to go ahead and check it out, the guide on how to set it up, etc. So let's go to their companies. I'm just going to grab some of the companies off of their website to show you exactly how this works. Go to their startup directory here. I'm going to go to B2B. So I'm going to go to B2B. Obviously, you want to grab leads that you could actually work with. So we work with B2B companies, let's just say in the legal space. Cool, works with us. Let's do the ones in America / Canada or just USA, probably easier sale for us. And let's do is hiring. Let's see if there's anyone for that. Beautiful. So these 13 companies here on the Y Combinator website, notoriously not the easiest place to scrape from. These are hiring, they're B2B, they're legal, and they're in the US, so we could work with them. All right, so I'm going to copy this link, go back to my Claude, paste this in, and hit enter. Again, this is in Claude Code. And now what it's going to do, it's going to scrape these 13 companies. It's going to find their founders. It's going to find their website, their social media. We're selling social media services, so this is set up obviously to help us out. It's going to find everything about this company, give us the leads back, and then what I'm going to do is qualify the leads. So I'm going to say, hey, these are actually a good fit. These guys we could work with, these guys we can't. Once I do a manual qualification myself, it then puts it into our lead database, and that lead database is then populated with all the leads that we could then reach out to. All right, and if you're not familiar with Claude Code, I have a bunch of setup tutorials on my channel if you want to go ahead and check those out. But it's very easy from the interface to find out what is actually going on. So it's fetching the YC company page. So this page right here, it's going ahead and fetching everything on it. Then it's going to inspect the raw file. So like it's going to scrape all that stuff and it's going to have a blob of just numbers and text and information. It's going to scrape that. It's going to then sort through that. It's going to find the tools, and then it's going to use Airtable to essentially make sure that all of the information it's returning to me can be fit into our Airtable database. And this is where we house our leads, our outreach systems, our CRM, everything related to actually sending out these outreaches to these companies. So where the leads are placed is all done through Airtable. So that's why it is connecting with Airtable. Now you could use something like Notion, you could use Go High Level, you could use anything you want. You want a destination for your leads to end up in. So it's getting everything in a format in which it's useful to us. And then it's going to dedupe the leads. So it's going to look through the Airtable already and say, okay, is Ironclad or is Kalinda, are these companies already in our database? Because we don't want duplicate leads in our lead database. So it's going to dedupe and make sure that there's no repeats of things that I've already put in there, because sometimes that happens, especially for a smaller niche. You might scrape the same thing a few times. So we don't want to have duplicate leads, it just messes up the entire thing. And then for your information, and then just so you can visualize everything, this is sort of how our lead database within Airtable looks like. So you'll have all the different leads, lead tracking, lead follow-up. We have our outbound right here, inbound, warm. We have a calendar, so it tells us when to actually follow up with the leads. You could do this yourself. You give to your team. Claude can even run the outreach for you. That's a whole nother video, but you could see we have all of our leads, and then these, if they fit our criteria, if they're not duplicate leads, they'll be placed in the CRM for us. I don't even have to touch the CRM. Claude pretty much handles everything for me. So we're about 5 minutes in, 1.4K tokens in as well. I'm running this on Opus 5, by the way, and then it's just going through in doing everything. It said fail to run here. That might happen from time to time. It will correct itself. And if it gets stuck, it'll just prompt it and we'll keep on going. So I'm going to show you what happens in a second here and check back when this gives us some output. And while we're waiting, like I mentioned earlier, this complete lead scraper starter kit will be down below. The GitHub tool, everything that we're using will be down below. I'm going to get into that setup in a second here after we see the outputs, but feel free to download that so you can follow along. All right, in real time, here we go here. So I failed to run this and then I actually ran it and then it created the new records in the Airtable. So all 13 companies from the YC Legal Hiring USA filter are now in the Dream 100 CRM. And these are these ones right here. So you can see it grabbed the company name, what they do, their HQ, etc. They said there was no duplicates, which is cool. One thing worth flagging is there are no websites or profile pages. Okay, cool. Makes sense. So let me go ahead and go over to our Dream 100 outreach board here. Let's just pick one of these. Let's go with Kalinda. Let's do Control F here, Kalinda. And there we go. In the outreach needed category, we have Kalinda right here. This is purely added by Claude, as you can see. Claude will add a note saying, I scraped this via Claude. Here is the link, and then here is the date it was actually scraped. Now, once these are done, so step number 1 is done. Essentially how this works here is we have 1, scrape leads, verify leads. So this is making sure they're not duplicates. They can actually fit our ICP, etc. Add to database. And step number 4 is we can enrich these leads, because what we're ending up doing here, our end goal is to do step number 5, which is send custom outreach. Now, in another video, I detail the entire custom outreach method. Essentially, we're enriching these leads so we could create a custom proposal and send it to these companies. And instead of just sending a message saying, hey, buy our offer, or hey, a few lines of text, we're sending an actual audit, a PDF, something of value to these companies because these are worth a lot of money to us. So we're taking the time and sending some hyper-personalized, in-depth, upfront value so these companies actually can open it and respond to us. We're getting a higher response rate. Yes, we could send less volume, but of the volume we're sending, it's high quality, higher chance of getting that sale. So we need to enrich the actual leads to make sure we could send out these customized proposals. These customized proposals, since we're running a social media offer, are essentially, here are 10 content ideas, here's a personalized landing page, here's a personalized free lead magnet, stuff like that. All right, so for that enrichment process, I basically go back to the Claude chat and say, hey, let's enrich this data for Kalinda specifically and update the CRM when that is done. So it's going to look at the YC profile, look at the website, find the tools, look at the social media, look at a background task, so looking at the demo videos, who their founders are, etc. And this is what I was able to find. Found the website, found the LinkedIn, the Twitter, found the email of the company, active social media, and then it fully enriched everything within our CRM, which we're going to take in a second. So found the founders here. They both have LinkedIn, found in 2025. They're hiring a software engineer. Okay, cool. Yep, there we go. So if we go back to our Dream 100 dashboard right here, which is our lead dashboard, you can see that it enriched this entire thing. So everything here is now enriched with exactly what we need. So it was sourced here. It's enriched the data here. These are the founders. This is where I could find the founders, everything about the founders, everything about the company, the positioning shift, the traction, hiring signals, contact information. Like, this is everything I need. Now, the last thing I could do here is, again, I could do this last part. I have a whole nother video on that. I could create a custom proposal with one / command for this company and then send it out to them. All right. I'm not going to cover that in this video. This is only about the lead scraping portion. You can see that we have scraped the lead, verified the lead, added to the database, enriched the lead, and now it's ready for an outreach. Like, how easy was that? Obviously, I could run all of this in parallel. I could just say, hey, do this for all of the different companies. I just want to show you one for the example. We scraped a website that's not the easiest to scrape out there, and we enriched the data and all of the data for that website. Like, you don't need much more than this to actually outreach to a company and have full context of who you're trying to work with and who you're trying to target. So that is just a demo of how it works. Now let's get into the plumbing underneath. What is this based upon? What is this working on? And how do you set this up? Also, one more thing I do want to mention before we get into that is that it will not make up stuff. So if it can't find a LinkedIn page, if it can't find a profile, it's not going to just make something up. It's going to say, hey, I can't find this. Like, that's just what it is. And that's what you need. You need accuracy when it comes to your enrichment. Otherwise, it's going to throw everything off. No hallucinations. None of this stuff is tolerated. That's built into the actual skills, or the instructions in the skill, I should say. So let's get into the free method. The first thing that happens behind the scenes, you didn't see it here, but we first run the free skill, which I'll show you in a second here, that actually gets the information. If it gets blocked, so there are a few sites that will still block this scraping attempt, there'll be a fallback to a company called Appify. So Appify is a lead scraping software. I'm sure you've heard of it. This is what it is right here. And essentially how this skill works is it uses first, it does a pass through of the free skill. And then if it gets blocked, or if not blocked, then what just happened will be fine, which is essentially it works. So if it's not blocked, then it's a W. If it is blocked, it will pass it to Appify, and then most likely Appify could then scrape, and then it turns it into a W, and it turns it into a W anyway. So there is that backup plan here, which is always good to have because we want to make sure that ideally in one skill, everything can be scraped, which is great. Now the free tool here is called Scrapling. If you just go to Google and look up Scrapling GitHub, it's going to be this first link right here, and you'll want to confirm that this is the right link by looking at how many stars it has. So this has 75,000 stars, that a lot of people are using it, still a drop in the water compared to how many people that need it. Millions of people need this. So all you're gonna do is copy the GitHub link. It's really this simple. You're going to go to a new Claude chat. So let's do new, say, please install this. I want to build a skill around this and scraping leads. That is literally it, right? Like that's how you build this skill. In the free guide, I'll leave down below. There'll be more instructions. There's a little bit more to it, but that is the basis of setting up the skill. They already built some amazing tech here, and you're just building a custom skill on top of it. For example, the Airtable base I set up, the custom proposals that I set up, the information I actually need to scrape is all custom to my business. So that compared with this is what births this scrape leads skill. So that's actually how it works. And it's insane because any of these free tools on GitHub, I talk about a lot of these all the time, especially like the lesser known ones for marketing, social media, content, etc. These could all become Claude skills. You just take the free GitHub, the tech they already built, you add your own personalization and context on top of it, and now you have a slash command that works specifically for your business. And you don't need to code and you don't need to ask someone how to do it. Like you just set it up using Claude and the actual GitHub link you find online through videos just like this. Now, some people are still going to buy lists, and that is completely okay. But if you run this skill, you can minimize that cost and you can still get highly effective leads that are still enriched. Like all this enrichment data is basically what you're paying for when it comes to actually paying someone to build a list for you. It's the accuracy of the data. It's the accuracy of the email. So you can sort of bypass that or aid that with this type of system right here, because what this system does, it's not going to fabricate anything. It's going to duplicate and make sure everything is checked. It's also going to log everything. And another way you could actually make this better is you could empower the Claude skill, so the scrape command skill, with an email verifier. So we'll actually verify the emails within the Claude chat saying, hey, this is actually a verified email. You could actually go ahead and outreach to this company, etc. So that's something that you could add on. I don't have that built out right now, but you could certainly do that for yourself. And some other ways you could use this skill is you could run it on a schedule. So instead of me mainly running scrape, so slash scrape leads, what I could do is just run this on a schedule. So at the beginning of every Monday, I scrape 100 leads from this list. Done. Right? And then I can outreach the rest of the week. I can also empower my team to use this, and then I could just make sure it's end to end. If I could run everything on a schedule, so think of all the stuff I just did, scraping the leads, enriching leads, I could run that all automatically. I could create the asset automatically as well. So this asset I was mentioning, I could create this as well, and then I could actually send out this outreach message automatically as well and track that. So everything end to end can be Claude. I have not done that yet. I will make a video on that soon as we're building that out, but that's something that hypothetically you could do if you really wanted to. And there you have it. You have a free GitHub skill that you could use. You could plug your context on top of it. You could build a scraping lead skill, and now you could scrape leads and drop them into your outreach CRM. So you could do more business, outreach to more people, and do it in a cost-effective and efficient manner. If you want more videos on using AI for lead generation, marketing, and social media, make sure to drop me a subscribe. And if you want a full playlist, I will link it down below of all of the ways we're using AI in our marketing to do over 7 figures for our business and our clients. So feel free to check that out. If you enjoyed this video, you will definitely like this one right here. I hope you use this skill. I'll also leave a link down to it below, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.